What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of In Cahoots Podcast. My name is Nikki. Before we get into the video, please make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button. Please be sure to also hype the video. That helps out a lot. Please comment under the video. Let me know what you're thinking. Don't forget to share the video with your friends, other creators. And also, do not forget to turn on your post notifications so that you know every single time there is a new video out. All right, so Erika Kirk hosted a TPUSA event with Karoline Leavitt. She interviewed her and asked her a whole bunch of questions. The interview was very uncomfortable to me. I don't know, Erika, she just seemed kind of off. But I'm going to have you guys check it out for yourself, and we'll go from there.
Hi, thank you both for talking to us tonight. My name is Mokul. I'm a student at GW as well. As you both know, there's a lot of conservative students across the country who are attending mainly liberal universities where we face censorship, event disruption, grading bias, and just a lack of respect from peers, mentors, and the university itself. And it can be incredibly draining and isolating for students who might not be vocal about their political beliefs or who aren't part of a conservative community on campus. And I speak from experience. And I wanted to ask, what advice do you guys have for students who might not fit in ideologically with their own community, or who just want to fight for free speech, core American values, and there's just more diversity in higher education viewpoint in our nation's capital?
I'll just say from the experience of seeing my husband do it, he was so courageous, like you talked about going to the Lion's Den, that he gave his life for free speech. I think, and I've said this before, the more that you take light out of dark places, the darker it will get. So I just pray that each and every one of you, especially students, look to my husband as the example to speak with truth and take your freedom of speech from the standpoint of responsibility, of engaging in discourse and dialogue, but doing it in a way where you are obviously standing for what you believe in, but also giving the people who don't agree with you an opportunity to share why. Because when you listen, then you can respond better rather than just, being like, oh, we don't agree on anything. You might actually agree on more than you think, but I just want to encourage you guys to continue to watch my husband's videos and see how he engaged. And even what I loved the most is seeing the evolution of him being on campus. At first, he would hold the microphone while the other person across the table was speaking. And as time went on, he put the microphone down to actually listen and then be able to engage appropriately from there, and really just doing what even Jesus did, which was ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. But again, I just hope that my husband continues to be an inspiration to all of you.
Who was that? Erika Regine Pinocchio Kirk, you hate questions. What? Have we been living in the same timeline for the past 6 months? You want to encourage to do what Jesus did and ask questions. So why won't you answer a question that anyone has for you regarding your husband, regarding yourself? You hate questions. You said it was noise. Remember? It's all noise. And then with her talking about freedom of speech and censorship. Wait, Erika, is this you?
And our first stop for our spring tour was set to be this Monday at Arizona State University. In the past 48 hours, that has been canceled by the university, which is curious to us because we found out that the event was going to be canceled shortly after our president of our college chapter went to a Turning Point in closed-door meeting at Arizona State University to invite the Turning Point USA students, and was faced with Erika Kirk, who just happened to have shown up to campus and just happened to be in that meeting. This is what she said.
I put the kids to bed and I thought to myself, you guys are in our backyard. And I was really frustrated that you guys weren't able to have the counter tabling for the UNF America tour, and that really pissed me off.
Shortly after, we received an email saying that our event would be canceled because of us not being within their 14-day rule of applying for a permit, even though we were within that 14-day rule. And also we have this screenshot right here that says that our event was approved. And then shortly after we found out that we would not be allowed to have our event on the ASU campus, we found out that Turning Point USA would be having Jack Posobiec at their closed door meeting on Monday, even though that was never planned.
So what were you saying, Erika, Regine, Pinocchio, Kirk? Asking questions, freedom of speech, all of that. Does this only apply to you and yours? Just you guys get to ask questions? The moment that you feel a bit censored, you sabotage the opponent. That's freedom of speech to you?
This will be the last question.
One more.
Hi, I'm Danielle, and I'm from Club America, and I'm a junior in high school. I know that Charlie was incredibly effective at communicating conservative values to young men, but many women my age seem to be moving in the opposite direction regarding like marriage and career. So what do you think needs to change to make the messaging more compelling to women my generation?
That's a good question, Erika.
From the
While I
standpoint,
sit here and think.
from the standpoint of telling them,
I'm so sorry to stop it, but Karoline Leavitt's foot, her right foot, is giving me anxiety. Oh my goodness.
career versus family.
Yeah.
Well, from my experience, before I met Charlie, I did have my own company, but I built it in a way where once I met Charlie and then we got married and had a family, it could run on its own. So I could focus on being a wife and being with my kids. And that was my priority. That was everything to me. I don't think there's a one size fits all. There's single mothers out there. There's people that have different circumstances. I think you really need to pray about where the Lord is taking you. And if you do have a husband that's supportive and you are blessed to be a stay-at-home mom, that's just as much of a massive role and a job as being a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You are the guardian of your home, and raising your children is the most precious blessing that you could have as a woman, because as a woman you were made to be a mother. And so I just would implore anyone who is struggling with that option to really pray, and you and your husband are able to make that decision together as what's best for your family and your children.
What I find most interesting about that is notice how Erika Regine Pinocchio Kirk is ever so slightly shifting. Now it's, there's no one size fit all. You just kind of have to pray, talk to your husband, or, just see what works best for you. Okay, but Erika, isn't this you?
Have it so mixed up. You can have a career after children, but if you try to have a career while you have your kids, there is no such thing as balance. That is such a myth.
You said it, Erika Regine Pinocchio Kirk. I didn't. But in all seriousness, it is 100% possible for life to lead you in a direction as to where you have to change some things about the way that you used to be. Charlie is gone now, so she can't be stay-at-home mom. Well, she could, seeing how Charlie did everything that he had to do to make sure that in the event that he did pass away, there's nothing that they would need for or want for. However, it is very much possible for life to lead you in another direction. My issue with Erika is, why not just be forthcoming? Why not just say, you know what? Hey, student, I see where you're coming from. I had the mentality that, a wife needs to be at home. A mother needs to be at home at all times. And they need to make sure that they don't miss out on anything. They have to be there while the child is growing up. You don't take on businesses and things like that. That's the husband's job. But due to circumstances, I had to step up, and now I just see it a little bit differently. And now, hey, it may not be one size fit all. Maybe the way that I thought back then, was just a little bit closed off, because now I see that depending on which way life takes you, you may not get to just be a housewife. You may not get to just stay at home all day with the kids. You may really have to get out there and grind. Obviously, Erika wouldn't have worded it the way that I worded it, but you guys get my point. But my point is that the way that Erika does things or words things sometimes, it really comes off as she never believed what she believed, or she's never done what she had did once upon a time. Maybe some people are, but I don't think that the world is expecting Erika to be this perfect person. And if they are, they shouldn't. That's unfair. It's okay to change your life. It's okay to change your mind, because you never know what God may take you through. You never know what life may throw at you.
Okay, and then real quick, is there anything that we can be praying? I can't see.
One more?
You want to take one more?
Yeah,
okay,
let's
we'll
do
take
it.
one more. Sorry.
Please.
We're just really running over, so that's the only way. Go ahead.
All right, I'll speak loudly. My name is Ryan Caldwell. I go to GW. My question is about the Save America Act.
Yes.
Who do not
I'm glad you're calling it. It is the Save America Act, not the
Amen.
Save Act.
It's an act that requires various forms of ID and proofs of citizenship in order to prevent voter fraud. However, voter fraud is incredibly rare. According to the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative database, by the way, there have only been a few hundred cases of voter fraud since 1982 out of hundreds of millions of votes. Additionally, according to the Brennan Institute of Justice, there are 21.8 million Americans who do not have easy access.
Look at their faces, especially Erika. She's starting to do the eye thing. But they both look like they are just slowly getting ticked off.
To proofs of citizenship. So my question to you is it worth it to risk millions of Americans from voting in order to prevent a few hundred cases of voter fraud?
First of all, thank you for the question. No need to boo. It's an honest question. I'm happy to give you an honest answer. First of all, I have not seen.
She looks so evil and she looks pissed. She's looking out at him like, who the F let you in? How did you get here? Seriously, like she's looking at this person like everybody was screened. How did you get in?
You provided, so I'd like to go check it myself and make sure that it's actually accurate in the way that you're citing it. And there is certainly much more, I believe, voter fraud in this country, and I'm sure the statistics back it up, than what you cited with one survey. And why are you okay with any voter fraud in the United States of America? We are the greatest country on the face of the earth, and we should have the safest and most secure elections of any country on earth. And it is
transparent.
And transparent. And it is.
It's just something about those eyes, I guess, right? Oh my goodness. If looks could kill. I'm going to end with this. One thing about Karoline Leavitt that I do respect is how sure of herself she is. She may not be everybody's favorite. I mean, not everybody is the next person's cup of tea. But if you watch this event on your own, you'll just see that she's a very confident woman. She stands 10 toes down. She knows exactly who she is, and she knows exactly what she's here to do. I cannot say anything bad about that. In this next clip, you're going to see exactly what I mean by that. So listen to Karoline, watch Erika, and tell me what you think.
You are in this role. How do you juggle family, career, faith all together? What is your roadmap for that?
And it just means that when I'm at work, I try to be as present as I can and as best as I can. And when I get home for our bedtime routine with my son every night, which I prioritize making it home for that I'm as present as I can be as his mother and soaking up every waking second that I'm not at the office with him and with my husband. And just balancing that act, it's a tricky one. And there are days that are longer and days that are better. But ultimately, it's just about that balance and that list of priorities you have to make in order to make it work. And a support system, as you know, it takes a village. I have an amazing mother who's here. I have an amazing husband and friends and family who are always willing to help. And that really, I'm grateful for that. And I know not everyone has that. But it really is helpful with this job and being a mom. But I would tell all the women in the audience tonight, you can do both. You absolutely can. You may not want to, and that's okay too, but you can make it work. It just takes, again, prioritizing your time and leaning on those around you, having a great partner, a great husband to bear your children with, and to just take it day by day.
I know how that is. Charlie in dad mode was one of my favorite. Charlie in dad mode and vacation mode were two of like my favorite versions among all the other versions that I was obsessed with, still am. But he was very intentional about bedtime with the kids. There'd be even times where he was in a meeting and he'd look at his phone and be like, I gotta go. And he'd come straight home and he would read. Our daughter, she'd go into the bookshelf and pick out the book for him to read. And it was always some form of a Curious George book. But it's amazing because she would ask him to read the same story 5 times. And it wasn't like, again. He was always so good about, yeah, of course, honey, we can read it again and again. But
I'm glad my kid's not the only one who asked.
Now you just wait there 1 second, Erika Reginae Pinocchio Kirk. Are you telling me out of everything that woman just said to you, the one thing you pulled out of there was bedtime? Bedtime with Charlie. That's what you got out of all of that? See, Karoline said, there is balance. There's balance. Now, Erika, turning point is yours now, right? You want to keep your husband's legacy going, right? You should have had a little mini debate with her, no? Don't you think Charlie would have? Don't you think Charlie would have challenged that a little bit? Don't you think at that very point you should have said...
Women have it so mixed up. You can have a career after children, but if you try to have a career while you have your kids, there is no such thing as balance. That is such a myth.
You should have hit her with one of those, Erika. You should have said, that is a myth. I'm here because I have no choice, but I have no balance either right now. That is a myth, Karoline Leavitt. That is a myth.
And it fuels you to be better at your job when you are able to take that time and be fully present. Like I find Monday mornings, I'm the most chipper and ready to go in the office, where most people are like, dragging their butts, exhausted. I'm like full of life because I had that weekend family time with my baby and my husband. That's so important. It fuels you. And that's why I tell young women, you can and you should do both, because actually being a mom and having a family and having a job, it gives you the greatest perspective. Because you can have the hardest, worst, most stressful day at your job, but when you go home to a beautiful baby and children who are just happy to see you no matter what, it is the most refreshing, beautiful thing, and it gives you the best perspective on life.
Erika, where are you at? This is your time. This is your time to shine, girl. Karoline Leavitt said, I tell women you can and you should do both. Come on, Erika, right then and there is where you should have said.
Not realistic. I can't spend half of the day doing one thing. I missed out half of that time with being with the kids. So you have to choose where your heart has to be fully with the home. You have to make that decision on your own, but you can always, after your kids are in school or after they're in high school, you can always go back to work. You can always find a way to get back into the workforce. But if you miss those precious first few years, that is so hard to make up, because memories are so much more important than an added paycheck.
Woo! Look at Erika Reginae Pinocchio Kirk, the master debater. You go, girl. You go. All except for the fact that you didn't do that. Anyway, I'm going to end this video right here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit the like button. Also hit the hype button. That helps the channel out a lot. Please make sure that you share this video with all of your friends, other creators too. Don't forget to turn on your post notifications so that you know every single time there's a new video. And also, don't forget to hit that join button to become a member. Guys, this has been In Cahoots Podcast. My name is Nikki. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.